Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Caravan of Garbage, where we're making our way through the Aliens movies.
That's right.
But the four Sigourney Weaver ones.
The tetralogy, as they call it.
Oh, yeah, it's not a quadrilogy, is it?
I mean, I guess. Language evolves, James.
Does it?
Yeah, like Aliens. It evolves.
Oh, yeah, they do evolve in this, because they got a big one. There's a big one in this.
It's a big one.
And it goes, boom, I'm a big one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's the kind of incisive commentary you're going to get from us on this classic film.
Absolutely.
It's one of the big ones.
It sure is. Leave a like if you could, because this is an incredible movie.
It is.
I was so excited to rewatch this as well.
Me too. And I was all set to write notes, as I sometimes do with this, depending on the quality of the movie. But then I was just gripped immediately. And I put my phone down, if you can even imagine. That is the quality of the movie.
You're reading off your phone right now.
What did people do in the 80s when they encountered a movie such as this that is so gripping and thrilling that they want to do something like put their phone down, but they didn't have a phone to put down? Did they put their home phone down?
They put their fondue.
I'll call you back, Gary. I'll do this fax later, Gary. Click.
Click.
Yeah.
They put their fondue set down in their conversation pit.
Oh, yep, that sounds like the past to me.
Yeah, it certainly does.
Sounds like quite accurate.
Yeah. Oh, man, the crew, though, they hated James Cameron. You know all about this?
No?
So, of course, James Cameron came on board for this. He'd recently done The Terminator. Big success, low budget, really particular vision, nailed it, right?
Absolutely. Seemed exactly like The Terminator.
It did, didn't it? Yeah.
You know, in hindsight, man, that movie's The Terminator, isn't it? It's iconically The Terminator. A lesser director would have made something that wasn't even close to being The Terminator.
No.
Yeah, but he made exactly The Terminator.
It's perfect.
Yeah.
So at this point, though, he was kind of unproven, at least he was over in the UK. They hadn't seen Terminator, any of the crew. And they're
this was filmed in the UK.
Yeah,
James, establish context.
Sorry, it was filmed at Pinewood Studios in the Ook.
Okay, so for all the listeners know and the viewers know, this could have been filmed in the US, and the American crew had heard that he was untested in the UK, and they were therefore mad at him.
Anyway, they hated James Cameron. They thought he was bullshit. A bullshit-brained idiot, I believe they said. I don't have a specific quote, but that's the vibe that I got from watching all the interviews.
They said he had a brain full of Tetleys.
Did they?
Which is the most mortal insult you can give in the UK. Yeah.
Yuck.
Yeah.
So in order to convince them that he knew what he was doing, he arranged a screening of The Terminator.
Oh.
But they didn't turn up.
Whoa.
So that's fun.
That's right. Screening's terminated.
Wow.
Yeah.
This screening is Tetley's. It's bullshit. The crew saw James Cameron and Gale Hurd, who was a producer and also Cameron's then wife, as inexperienced, overly demanding and arrogant.
If I can cut in there for a moment, there's a lot of movies in Cameron's career where it's like James Cameron and this woman, who at the time was his wife.
That's true.
And then never again. They're never mentioned in another one of these.
I think he ended up staying married to the woman from Titanic that he married. That's my understanding.
The submarine.
Yeah, but Linda Hamilton was the wife between these two wives.
Oh, terrific.
I'm pretty confident. Cameron and Hurd, though, they saw the crew as lazy, insolent, and arrogant. Didn't want to light a scene a certain way, and they'd be like, no, you don't know what you're doing. If we've got these beautiful alien sets, let's make them bright and beautiful. And he's like, no, grub. I'm a grub. Grub here.
Yep.
I'm an American grub. Bah. So one of the few allies on the production, though, was production designer Peter Lamont.
Okay.
And after a long and difficult shoot, Cameron addressed the crew by saying that the one thing that kept him going through all of this was the certain knowledge that one day I would drive out of Pinewood and never come back, and that you sorry bastards would still be here.
Ooh.
Yeah. They got it done, though. They got it done.
They did.
They figured it out.
And they made the movie Aliens.
Exactly.
Which is pretty much dead on the movie Aliens.
Yeah, I know. It's pretty close.
With the benefit of hindsight, it is very close to the movie Aliens.
But it was nearly a different movie because the studio at one point were thinking, let's not
the Stupido.
Wow.
Yeah, okay.
But yes. Let's not get Sigourney Weaver back because her star had increased.
Oh, yeah.
And he wrote this, James Cameron, under the assumption that she was on board for a sequel.
A lot of people have written alien movies with the assumption that Sigourney Weaver was on board for a sequel. Not always true.
It's true. I mean, it's not always true. So she hadn't even signed on and never been contacted. And when they eventually contacted her at the very last minute, she obviously demanded a huge salary. And he didn't want to do it without her. But he planted an industry lie that he was going to move forward without her. And he wasn't going to do so. He would have just left regardless. She got $35,000 for Alien and $1 million for Aliens plus an unknown percentage.
Nice.
So she did very well out of it.
Nice.
This movie doesn't work without Ripley either.
No Tetleys in the head for her.
No.
Yeah, got a good head on her noggin there.
I agree.
Tell you what.
Can you imagine this without Ripley, though? It'd be like one of those Aliens movies without Ripley.
It would be. That's true. I mean, she is the linchpin of this, but I mean, there is a good supporting cast in this.
Absolutely there is. Newt, Carrie Henn, first role, iconic scream.
Also, last role?
Yeah, maybe, potentially. She became a teacher. They're still friends and stuff. Everyone's still friends on this. Everyone who's alive, that is.
Everyone who's dead, mortal enemies with the people who are still alive.
Just a movie filled with absolute fucking legends.
Absolutely.
And I mean in terms of like the actors in it and also the characters. I mean, you know Burke, right? He's a bad dude.
Yes.
But what an incredible character, right?
Agreed, yeah.
Just a slimy company man. And you think maybe he does have some feeling? You know?
But that's your residual, love for Paul Reiser because of his performance in Mad About You.
Yeah, that's true, actually. A show I never watched. Also, I could have sworn that he was wearing two ties in this. But I'm thinking of Back to the Future 2, where Marty McFly is wearing two ties in the year 2015.
In this future, everybody wears a standard issue 80s suit, but they flip the little back collar up.
Oh, yeah. What do you think of that kind of retro futuristic future that they got going on here? I mean, printing is atrocious. That picture of her daughter, my God. And video camera technology, yuck.
Yeah.
What are we doing here? The Marines are all great. They filmed the opening scene last because that way they kind of built a camaraderie and they went through basic training together.
see.
Except James Remar was the original Hicks. And he was removed due to drug possession. And Michael Biehn was flown over like the weekend and like, we need somebody.
We got somebody not currently in jail for drug possession.
James Remar is in this. There's like a shot of him in the nest from behind.
Oh, right.
But,
okay, sure.
but yeah, I mean, you would never know that.
I mean, he's smoking a big doobie in the scene.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Yeah.
But I was going to say, you would never know that Mr. Bean came on board for this one,
There we
you know?
go, yeah.
Like, you just want to.
People not friends with James in real life would know that he has precisely one joke related to the Aliens franchise, and it's Michael Biehn is Mr. Bean.
I could use it for the Terminator franchise.
Oh, that's true.
Or the movie The Rock, Mason.
That's true, yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Well, imagine Mr. Bean and he's in the Tech Noir nightclub.
Oh, my God.
Terminator is all.
He would be doing a weird dance, wouldn't
Yeah,
he?
yeah, he's got a turkey on his head.
And he'd probably get shot.
Yeah. Or he's immortal.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know what his deal is.
Yeah, either he'd get shot or everybody in the club would die except him. So, you don't know.
Yeah. Bill Paxton is so fun in this.
Absolutely. Like the immediate switch from the most confident guy in the room or the most, puffed up chest, faux confident guy in the room to a guy just predicting his imminent demise.
Yeah,
immediately.
absolutely.
So good.
I mean, incredible lines also. I know, there's the game over line, but my favorite line of his is, I can't even do it, but he's like, "You're dog meat, pal." Like that's,
Yeah.
I have not done that justice. Just incredible. And he, like a lot of people in this, there's a bit of redemption, like he grows out of his cowardness.
That's true.
Before he's dragged to his death.
Yeah.
I love that for him. Oh my God. But look, you know the story, or the famous story, which may or may not be true, about how James Cameron pitched this, right?
No, as I understand it, he walked into a room full of suits.
Yep.
Full of bloody stupido executives. And he went to the whiteboard and he wrote the word alien, and everyone went, "Boo!
We made that already.
Get out!" And then he's like, "Before I go," and then he wrote an S, and then he put a dollar sign, and it said "dollar alien." And then he rubbed it out quickly, and then he put the S on the other side, and he put a line, and it said aliens dollars.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
And he wasn't wrong, mate. He wasn't wrong. Quick Red Dwarf connection. Mac McDonald, who's the captain in Red Dwarf, is the head of the facility on LV421.
Yeah, okay.
Love that.
Do you mean LV426?
I mean whatever I mean. I say what I said.
Okay.
And I say what I do. I mean, the idea to increase this to multiple aliens with a hidden queen and going into the hive and all of that, and they're hiding in the walls and they're skulking about.
Yeah, and they've got a motion tracker that doesn't work at all.
Yeah, I know,
it's
right?
Completely useless.
Yeah, I mean, if something is in front of you, but then you just see it, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's pointless. It doesn't make any sense.
Also, but you're looking down.
Yeah,
So you
exactly.
can be surprised by the thing that's... Anyway.
By the dot that could be anything.
It's-
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's got a great sound effect, but speaking of, has a gun ever sounded better in a movie? No. I mean, a fictional gun at least. I mean, RoboCop, he's got a big
gun, it's true.
And I know that like these are built out of like real guns and etc. But then the specific sound effect of this gun, and here it is just incredible. Love Bishop, he's great. He's not a man, is he?
No.
You can tell.
You can tell we've watched this movie, certainly.
Knife Trick is great, obviously. I love this little tidbit. Lance Henriksen said that Bishop would forgive people for their mistreatment of him since he knew that he'd outlived them all, which is what he thought as a child when adults were abusive towards him. Which I think is just a really interesting way to play this character.
Sure.
Just when people are mean to him and he's just like, all right.
One day you'll die.
Yeah.
One day you'll die and I'll have been killed on screen by an alien, a predator, and a Terminator.
Oh, yeah. And that's fun, isn't it?
It is fun. In the club with Paxton?
Oh, you mean as in, I thought you meant the club as in the Terminator.
No.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Was Paxton? Yeah, Predator 2.
Predator 2.
There we go.
Yeah.
That's good stuff, mate. And I love that, the character of Bishop or Lance Henriksen can show up across this franchise.
That's true, because he's based on the head of Weyland-Yutani.
Or he isn't. There's we'll talk about it next week, but there's some speculation that the Bishop who shows up in the next one is actually an android, even though it's the whole thing. It's a whole thing that we'll briefly touch upon, Mason.
God, imagine being a CEO with such power that you can be like, okay, we're going to build a line of androids and forevermore they're all going to have my face. Imagine in a couple of decades' time we've all got a service android in our house that looks like Elon Musk.
Oh, weird chest.
Yeah.
What's he keeping in there?
Chilled beverages.
Oh, that's
a little
cool.
fridge.
That's cool. I like that, actually. Yeah. Also, this movie I feel like is really the poster child of model work and rear projection. None of the models from the...
Did you practice that?
Nah, man. I wrote it in my notes,
Okay.
but I didn't rehearse it.
Okay, all right.
What? Did I deliver it so well that you thought I'd...
It kind of felt like, did you get paid by somebody who makes model work and rear projection
in the
technology?
80s?
Yes. Yes, and they said one day when you make a video about this, you have to promote our work.
I mean,
we're long out of business, by the way.
If anybody wants to, that would be great. But none of the models from the original movie none of them survived. I think, the original alien ship did. That's the same one. But the Narcissus, which is the Nostromo shuttle, they had to remake that just from reference footage.
Right, because the old version, they taped a bunch of episodes of Doctor Who over the top. Yeah. Because they thought they wouldn't need the ship anymore.
Why would there be a second Aliens?
Right?
God, imagine if they had called this Alien 2.
Yuck.
They thought about that also, right?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Yeah. And there's just little...
Alien 2, this time she's mad. Who? We don't know. Anyone, it doesn't matter.
We don't know who was in it yet, right? This movie is mostly shot in camera. There are some elements added, like the electricity when the facility is blowing up. When Ripley's standing on the platform with Newton, it's all blowing up behind her and there's smoke and steam and whatever. That's rear projection. When the ship crashes down on the planet, that was filmed as a model and then, done as rear projection, which you can tell now looking back at it. But it just really adds an atmosphere, to it. And this is a great little trick that I love. So, when they all come out of their cryo sleep chambers.
Yeah, cigars at the ready.
Exactly. Frozen cigars at the ready.
That's right.
So each of those cost about $4,300 to build, US. But they needed 12. So that's mirrored on both sides. There's only 4. And just stuff like that, that's good stuff, man.
That is good stuff.
It's such... we'll talk about the budget later, but it looks so much better than it should. Because of just the ingenuity. And a lot of this is like James Cameron and...
Yeah. I think a lot of
just
this
knowing
stuff,
exactly what you want to do.
And I think that's probably the reason that the Terminator and Alien in this movie have sort of...
And Terminator Dark Fate.
And
Terminator Genesis.
Exactly. And Terminator 3, Rise of the Machines, have sort of, been dragged out of that era and are classics now because they had the same... They had the same tools as everybody else in that era, but they knew how to use them better. And that's why a whole bunch of stuff is sort of... Lingering, and other stuff has kind of slipped into a non-existence.
Absolutely. And puppets, Mason. The biggest puppet in this is, of course, the Queen. Well, a lot of the aliens in this, it's a simpler design. A lot of the times they'll just be in a black spandex with just highlights of the costume, and that way they can kind of leap about. You light them darkly. There's only 5 or 6 suits or whatever, but they make it look like there are hundreds. Again, it's cost saving. But the Queen is just, it can sprint. Yeah. It's a puppet. It's crazy.
Use the same technology that lets Kermit ride a bike.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, look at that. And you're like, how's he doing it? How's he doing it? Pure movie magic is what that is.
Oh, that's the technology?
Yeah.
Just pure...
And wishes.
Oh, so H.R. Giger wasn't asked back for this.
Giger waits by the phone.
Well, he pretty much did.
To be called.
Yeah. But nah.
Giger keeps on waiting.
You can do a video game in the 90s, Giger.
Nobody called Giger. Blair. That's what the Swiss sound like.
That's true. Well, James Cameron thought, well, look, we've got most of the designs that we need already. We've got the alien and a lot of it.
Sucked in, idiot. Yeah. You shouldn't have given us so many great designs years ago.
And he's like, I got an idea for the Queen. I can bag that out. But James Cameron's also worried that he was going to be overwhelming and difficult to work with. And Giga later expressed that there was disappointment that he wasn't called. He was sad by the phone, but he said it was beautifully done. So, that's a nice thing to say for people who didn't call you.
It's true.
Yeah. So the Alien Queen itself had 14 to 16 operators. The head, the neck, the body, the legs, the face, the lips, the jaws, and the tongue. They're all independently moving.
Sassy hip movement.
And there's no you can't erase wires or puppeteers. It's all in camera, but you just have to hide all of that, you know? It's so well done. And that reveal, when Ripley goes the story of this. Have you ever seen the movie Aliens?
Then it's
basically that.
It's pretty much that.
Yeah. At the end when Ripley goes after Newt and goes into the lair, that reveal of the Queen where you see the egg and then it pans up over the egg sack and then across to the Queen and it's just sitting like a hunched like a
rooster.
Like a rooster. Yeah. Fuck me. What a
One
reveal.
of those terrifying, really big roosters.
Yeah, that's right.
Here's the clip.
Yeah. It looks like it should be wearing shoes. That big rooster Mason. And I think my favorite moment in this movie is where there's that understanding where Ripley's gonna I'll torch this room if you make an attempt on our life. And as she's backing out, the Queen signals, one egg opens, and she just gives it a look like, come on, what are we doing here? And then it's just on, it just completely kicks off. And just Bishop getting absolutely fucking shredded.
Right.
That twist and that just wet snap. The way that it pops out of his chest and all practical, obviously. That's a Bishop puppet that they just tore into. Just milk and ball bearings everywhere. It's amazing.
It's a thing of beauty.
Yeah. Him having to lie in the floor for days and he was just covered in milk and yogurt. It was getting sick from it. No one would approach him because he smelled dreadful. Just amazing. I love it. And the loader, of course, which has a man in the back of it. So it's puppeteered also, it's on wires, but there's a person behind Sigourney Weaver doing all the lifting and all of that. And just, again, there's a reason that it's so iconic. And, we've seen it replicated in Avatar since and other James Cameron.
True, yeah.
But you cannot beat this for design and execution.
So true.
I feel. Oh, Mason, I got a segment here.
What's the segment, James?
The segment's called Favourite Moments. Here's some favourite moments that I have
from
the movie that I haven't yet talked about, if you don't mind.
Okay, your favourite moments.
Yeah, the facehugger attack.
Where
there's just Ripley and Newt in a room and they're just scuttering about. Just a good bit of tension, just elevating a bit of that facehugger lore. You see what they're capable of because you only really see them leap out and onto a face at that point, People are still putting their faces over eggs, by the way. Come on, it's 2191 or something.
Haven't any of you seen any previous Alien movies?
What are you doing?
Come on, these were big hits.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's a favourite moment.
Yeah, me too.
No, I'm telling them.
I'm telling you it's my favourite moment.
Okay, well, I'm going to punctuate it by saying that's a favourite moment.
Is it your favourite moment?
No, I'm just saying it's a favourite moment.
Okay, cool. The alien rising out of the water, that imagery, love that.
That's a favourite moment.
I agree. And Bishop doing a big vom. When I was a kid and I saw this, I didn't know he was an android. I saw it so young that I didn't know
you missed the line of dialogue.
Yeah, I didn't know he wasn't a bloke. Because it's filmed like a chest bursting scene.
Yeah.
So even if you knew he was an android, which you should because they say it multiple times.
Absolutely.
It looks like he's being chest burst. And then I remember as a kid just watching him vomit milk and just what is happening? Just freaking out watching this movie. Yeah.
So that was a scary moment at the time, but now you've come around. It's a favourite moment.
It's one of my favourite moments.
Okay, all right.
That's a great recurring segment that we do every week.
I think so.
Isn't it? And speaking of, Mason.
Maybe next week I'll have some favourite moments. This week, none.
No? Zero?
I like the movie Aliens.
Yeah, it's a good movie.
That's a favourite moment.
We've been talking about that a bit this episode, haven't we?
We definitely have.
Yeah. Anyways, it's time for trivias.
Oh.
It's trivia section.
Dollar sign at the end?
Yeah, absolutely.
Nice.
Of course. Lawrence would have thought of that. He didn't just put it in when you said it. It was there the whole time, I reckon.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, because that would be unprofessional if he did it any other way. The alien nest was kept intact after filming. It was later used as the Axis chemical set for Batman 89.
I love Batman 89.
I know. We did a video on it also.
So goopy.
When the Batman crew first entered the set, they found that most of the alien stuff was still intact.
Blimey, they said.
They said.
Let's tape over this with an episode of Batman 1989.
In the original script, whilst Ripley is rescuing Newt, she encounters a cocooned Burke in the power plant. He claims he can feel the chest buster inside of him, and he asks for help, and she hands him a live grenade, and she moves on. This is filmed. It was recently-ish released.
Oh.
So here it is, obviously, because Lawrence wouldn't put it in. It would be unprofessional if we talked about this and he didn't. But if you are interested in the further adventures of Carter Burke,
Boy, who wouldn't be?
there is a comic, and it is co-created by Paul Reiser. It's called Aliens What If.
Mad about Burke.
So it's basically what if Carter Burke lived. So it's set during the events of Aliens, and then it obviously discounts that scene. He escapes, and then it's set like 20 years after.
He's just relaxing in Beverly Hills by his pool.
No, he gets in an alien situation again. But the interesting thing about that comic is it's a what if, but it absolutely does not contradict the alien continuity at all. Yeah, which I thought was fun. The portrait of Ripley's daughter is actually Sigourney Weaver's real-life mother.
Oh, I think I knew that, yeah.
Yeah, but did you know this? The official story of her death may have only been a cover story to keep Amanda Ripley safe.
She's actually in cryogenic suspension.
You did know that?
I did know that, yeah.
Wow.
Because they did that in the Alien Isolation game spin-off comic book.
Yeah.
And so I guess that is because in case they ever wanted to have Amanda Ripley and Ellen Ripley ever meet again in the future.
Which they definitely do want to do, yeah.
Yeah.
My God, that's so good, Mason. I feel like that would be almost worthy of a prize. But we don't do that here.
No, I was going to say, what are you talking about, prizes out of nowhere?
That's in the book Alien Colony War, if people are interested. Newt features in a deleted scene from The Predator. Are you familiar with this?
Oh, yeah. So for people who haven't seen The Predator. And
dreadful movie.
I was going to say dreadful is exactly the word I would use. If you haven't seen it, don't see it. So watch Prey instead. It's a better movie.
Yeah.
At the end, the heroes, use that term loosely,
Sure.
they reveal that in a lab they have a secret weapon that they're going to use to defeat the Predator.
They recovered something, or I can't remember specifically.
And as I understand it, up until very late in the filming, the producers of the movie were not sure what it was going to be.
Yeah.
And it was going to depend on who they could get, or what they could think of, or what actor they could get to be in it. It might have been Dutch from the original Predator.
Thought. They were thinking Ripley at one point. And yeah, they actually filmed one with Brianna Watkins as a stand-in, as Newt as an adult coming out of cryo sleep.
Okay.
And the idea they went with, the Predator Iron Man suit.
That would also have to be a time travel.
Yeah, it would be a time travel.
It would be a time travel cryogenic
Every
system.
one of those ideas is bad.
Yeah.
Except Dutch, maybe?
I mean, at least Dutch would...
I mean, that makes the most sense.
At least Dutch would work in a timeline sense, but why would he be in a storage unit?
I don't know.
You know? Did he keep some of his commando stuff in there and he got stuck one day?
Sounds like he did.
Yeah.
Maybe he got stuck in Ripley's toilet, which was a British Airways toilet that they purchased for the film. It's a little airplane toilet in their apartment.
That's great.
Very Fifth Element as well. Tiny little apartment, everybody smoking cigarettes.
Yeah, nice.
God, it's a good time, isn't it?
Oh, hell
Hey, to that one guy who keeps asking us to do the Fifth Element Caravan of Garbage.
Huh. Just one guy?
Yeah, but it's one. It seems to be one guy.
Okay.
We might.
Yeah, maybe we'll do a series of movies directed by crook blokes. Just absolute rotten blokes.
Oh, Mason, where will we find so many movies directed by crook blokes?
I don't know. Not
God.
in Hollywood, certainly.
Anyway, the box office for this, on a budget of $18.5 million, it made $183 million, a little bit over. That's actually $3 million below Alien. But I would say this would almost have certainly made more money than the original Alien in the long run.
Oh, absolutely.
You know?
Betamax sales, Laserdisc sales.
Yep.
Viewmaster reels probably of Aliens.
Yep.
Just Bishop getting torn to shreds and clickety click.
Love
format,
that.
You know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
All of those things. Anticipation for the next Alien movie, I'd imagine, you know? There's some goodwill certainly carried over.
Yeah.
But Ridley Scott had thoughts about this movie.
Don't you mean Ripley Scott?
No.
Interesting.
Should I?
Maybe.
I mean Ripley Scott. He said, although the sequel did go in another direction than what he'd hoped for, he was impressed by the results. He said, it's always a tough job to follow a successful film with a sequel to it. So what I think James Cameron did was an excellent action picture. It really was amazing what he accomplished. I would never, ever critique or criticize Aliens because I think it was very successful and what he did was really good.
Nice.
It's nice, isn't it?
I mean, it is nice depending on the tone you say that in.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
I'd never criticize it.
It was really
It was
good.
really good and it did well, so I wouldn't criticize that.
I mean, I made a successful movie, which helped. I mean, it did.
Yeah.
It definitely helped. Don't you
And
think?
I made Blade Runner. yeah, he made Terminator, I guess, and Terminator 2, I guess.
And some people think that the second Blade Runner is better than the first Blade Runner.
But I directed the movie. I directed that Napoleon movie where Napoleon's like, you just think you're the best because you have boats. You know that scene? Yeah,
That's a good scene.
that is a very good scene.
But look, Mason, we're halfway through the Alien franchise.
Yeah,
Air horn, obviously.
We are halfway through Ellen Ripley's terrible, horrible, no good, very bad week. Because when you think about it...
Yeah, it's not a lot of time, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just horrifying event, cryo sleep, second horrifying event, cryo sleep, your daughter's dead.
Yep.
You die, and then you're a clone again. Mm-hmm. Big week.
Big week. Yeah. So, yeah, we're going to be talking Alien 3 next week. And if you do want to see that early, you can actually head over to bigsandwich.co, where it's not the only thing going on there. We've got a bunch of stuff that we paywall. It's a secret.
Hell yeah.
But we're going to let you in on it.
That's right.
It helps support this channel and keep it ad-free. At bigsandwich.co. It's $9 a month if you are interested. We also do bonus podcasts. We do a comic book club. We recently did an Alien comic that we loved. We do video game Let's Plays. We're going to look at aliens, colonial marines.
That's right.
We've also done a movie commentary coming up soon for the movie Prometheus.
Yeah, we're guided by the algorithm.
We definitely are.
Yeah, we know what SEO is.
We know what it is.
I spell it SEO $.
Oh, you should. At the end, SEO.
Yeah.
I get a lot of emails from YouTube that's like, we've got a creator course where you can zoom in and we can be like, what's good for your business and your company? And every time I'm like, how do I opt out of this? How do I stop this from happening?
You throw your laptop out the window, and you do.
Anyways, thank you so much for watching.
Grab that jammy, guys. We'll see you next week.
Goodbye.
Yeah, goodbye.